Oh dear. Glasses. Glasses? No glasses. Oh, that's strange without them. Hi everyone! I'm back! Hi, welcome. If the title confuses you a little bit, I will explain, don't worry. This is going to be my coming out story slash what's happening to my channel, where have I been, update what's gonna happen going forward kind of video. But I don't think that will fit into a title, so welcome. If you're a long-time subscriber and you have been subscribed and waiting around for a new video, I am so sorry that that video that I promised did not appear on my channel. The last video that was uploaded to this channel was before December, so before Christmas, and then the video before that I think was a few months before, saying yeah, there's a video next week. Yeah, that never happened. So this video is kind of explaining what happened, what I've been up to, my big news of coming out and the story of all that, and then what's going to be happening going forward for this channel. So the first part of this video is going to be my coming out story. So if you haven't seen on Instagram or Facebook, I posted a video last week coming out to everyone, and I was coming out as bisexual. It's something that I can now officially say without bursting into tears, unlike that video, but I had an incredible response from everybody, so thank you so much. If you see one of those videos either on Instagram or Facebook and sent me a comment or a personal message, it was very well received. I loved reading all the comments and seeing all the seeing all the messages and stuff. I kind of backtracked away from social media a little bit after I posted that. It's something that's been very close to my heart for quite a while, and to have it out there has been a little bit scary. So I'm going to kind of go into the story of it and how I made the decision to come out and all that kind of stuff, and how my journey kind of went. So if you're watching this and you've seen previous videos on my channel about my health and about my anxiety, I wouldn't blame you for thinking another thing, another big scary video that she's putting up, another thing that's going on. I know, I felt exactly the same way. It's part of the reason why I didn't want to tell anyone, because I didn't want people to think, oh, she's got another thing wrong, there's another thing going on in her life. And that's really not what it is. It is just the fact that it's something that I've been keeping from everybody, including my husband, for a very long time, and I didn't feel ready to tell anybody. I hadn't, up until about 4 months ago, I hadn't told a soul. Nobody knew. No one that I still talk to knew. And so it was terrifying. So let's throw our minds back to 15-year-old Gemma. There'll be a picture here. Didn't I look stupid? So I kind of started having some ideas that I possibly wasn't straight when I was about 14 or 15. It started off with just thoughts, or, you know, noticing, you know, other girls, but I kind of just thought, that's kind of, is that normal? You know, at the time I was a teenager, I didn't really understand what half of it meant. But I was very sure that it wasn't right, it wasn't normal. And then I kind of just left it at that. And then as I started growing up and, you know, left school and started going to college and certain clubs, I started experimenting a little bit, and I was in places that no one knew who I was, so I could freely kind of experiment that side of me. So that's kind of where I kind of left that. And then I met my ex, who ruined me, to put it mildly. And I think at that point I started thinking, well, if this is men and this is what it's like to be with a man, I don't want that. So I was very, very confused, and then I met Stephen, and I was still so confused, and I was very, very self-aware and self-conscious, and really kind of feeling ashamed and really down and hating myself for having these thoughts, and have done those things with other girls. And I kind of buried it all and didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell Stephen. Stephen knew a lot, pretty much everything else, of my past and my ex and things that happened with him and the horrible stuff that happened and all the issues I had going on. And he, you know, supported me through everything and didn't judge me about anything. And I don't know why, but I just, because I hadn't worked it out in my own head, I kind of didn't feel I could tell him, because I didn't even know what was going on. So and that's how it stayed, you know. I'm very happy with Stephen, still very, very happy with Stephen, you know, very loving, committed relationship. Obviously now we are now married. We've been together nearly 11 years. We've been married for nearly 3, and it was just eating me up inside. It was something that I knew as the years went on, and I discovered more about myself and my own kind of situations. I kind of realised that more and more that I was basically working things out in my own head. I knew I wasn't gay. That was something that, it was the first thing that I kind of eliminated in my own head. I knew I liked men, I liked being with men, I liked being with Stephen, but I also had this side where I liked women as well, and it was so confusing because I was relatively inexperienced before I met Stephen, so I didn't know. I really didn't know. And it got to, I think it was the week before the UK went onto lockdown, and me and Stephen were sitting having a chat, and somehow the subject of sexuality came up, and there was a little voice on my shoulder that kind of said, "You're not going to have any other option but to tell him now. This is the best opportunity you have of telling him." And it didn't come out how I wanted it to. I kind of threw into the mix of the conversation that I felt that I might be bi-curious. So I kind of dipped my toe in a little bit, telling him that, and he was quite happy with, you know, discussing things. And I think that's when I realised, no, I've got to tell him I know I'm not bi-curious, because I have tried things, I have been with women and enjoyed it, and I knew that I was bisexual, and it was a hard conversation to have. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, you know. Stephen took it amazingly. He was so supportive and so loving and not in any way judgmental. I think the worst conversations were he was trying to like decide, are we still staying together, you know, do I feel in me that I need to kind of go out and be with a woman? Do I feel like I'm gay? I you know, and that kind of, them conversations were happening, and they were scary for a couple that have been together for 10 years to have 2 beautiful children and are married. It was a really scary conversation. There was tears, there was, you know, confusion, you know, and at the end of it we kind of come to the conclusion that yes, I'm bisexual, but I'm in love with my husband. You know, I love men and I love women, and it just happens that I am in a very committed loving relationship with a man. You know, touch wood wherever it may be, it doesn't happen, but if anything was to ever happen to me and Stephen, then, you know, there would be a possibility that I would start something with a woman, and that was the conversation we needed. And it was hard, it was rough, and that whole week was just stressful and crazy. And it's like we knew, because we had two different people visiting that week, and it was right before lockdown happened, so it was kind of weird. It was almost like subconsciously we knew lockdown was about to happen, so we kind of crammed in as many visits as we could get. It was strange. So once I'd come out to Stephen, I knew that I wanted to tell a few close friends. That's kind of how it kind of started. And it so happened that my best friend in the whole world, Rosanna, who might be watching this, hi Rosanna, was coming down for a visit, and I kind of sent her a message and kind of said, I definitely need you to come down this week. I can't remember what day it was. That I need you to come down. I need to tell you something face to face. I can't do it over the phone. And I think she kind of picked up on the tone of my messages that she needed to get here. So she came down and we kind of chatted for a bit, and Stephen took the children upstairs because obviously at this point the schools had closed. So, you know, we were homeschooling and stuff, so they went upstairs with Stephen, and I came out to Rosanna, and bless her, she had to guess because I couldn't say the words. I was still bursting into tears and just being so stressed, and so it feels so self-exposing. You feel so exposed after revealing something like this. So I told Rosanna, she gave me a big hug and we had a laugh, and it was the best reaction I could have ever asked for. And then a few days later, my brother and his girlfriend were coming down. I spoke to my brother's girlfriend, Ray, and kind of said, there's something I'm going to tell my brother, you know, I don't really know how it's going to go. And she pretty much guessed straight away. She can read me like a book, which is terrifying. And then she knew, and I knew I couldn't let them leave without my brother finding out, so I told my brother. And me and my brother are really, really close. There's only 2 years between us. He's 2 years younger, and he was incredible. He gave me a cuddle, you know, he made me feel like I didn't need to worry, and that's kind of how it stayed. Me, Stephen, my brother, his girlfriend, and Rosanna were the only ones that really knew for a little while. And as I started accepting it more and more in my own head and was able to say it and be quite open with it and stuff like that, I started to realise that just telling these little core people weren't enough. So I told a few more people. I told, if you remember from our wedding videos, Fran, who is dating Stephen's best friend Rich. So they found out. That had to be over messages because at this point lockdown had happened. I told one of my best friends, Dan, and wish that I could have told him in person, but again, we couldn't through lockdown. I then told another friend who was a lovely lady who helps with my stool. So I had like that I kind of expanded my little circle of people who knew. So the whole subject of me telling my parents came about. My parents are very old school. They, you know, were brought up in a different generation and have always tried to not instill that in me and my brother, but I think unconsciously did. Not only just my parents, but you know, aunts and uncles and people that we were around as kids. And it's just how the generations were brought up. I was in two minds of how my parents would have reacted. You know, would they have gone with their new outlook on life and how the world has changed and all that kind of stuff, or would they have gone with their old school kind of how they were brought up kind of way? And I really didn't know which way it was going to go. We also had a lot of things happening just in our family and in the world. You know, lockdown had happened. My nan, my mum's side, had been in and out of hospital for months. So she was in before Christmas and then after Christmas in January. And then very sadly, last month she passed away, and it was a huge blow for us. You know, you never are prepared for when a family member dies. You know, my mum had lost her mum, and it was horrible. It was so hard to see her in so much pain. It still is. You know, it's only been just over a month, and you know, it was just never a good time to tell anybody any of this, because I couldn't tell anyone else because I didn't want my parents hearing it from anyone else but me. But then I couldn't tell my parents because of everything they had going on already. So it was just huge. It was so crazy. And I was talking to my mum a couple of nights ago. I think it was like a Friday night a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, whatever it was now. And she knew something was up, and I just kind of said to her, look, I can't tell you now, I'll tell you face to face in a few weeks or a few months or a year or so, whenever everything's calmed down. And my mum just couldn't let that go. She wanted to know, she knew something was bothering me. And I remember on the Saturday, the day I came out, the big day I came out, I took the kids to the park because we've got one very, very local to us. There was no other children at the park, so we kind of went there, and then if any children were to show up, we would leave, just to kind of get their exercise out and stuff. And we'd been there about 10 minutes and my mum phoned and just said, you need to tell me now, because I am picturing like the worst things in the world. Like, I know there's something going on, you need to tell me, you need to tell me, you need to tell me. So I told her on the phone, which is not ideal, but I think it was the best thing, because I don't think I would have got the words out at that time if I'd had her face to face. And I told her on the phone, and she went silent, like the phone had been hung up. Like, I was so scared. I was like, are you still there? Hello? And she finally started talking, and she was like, is that it? What? What do you mean, is that it? So that was kind of, I could like my stomach fell. I couldn't believe that she didn't think it was that big of a deal, compared to what I was picturing would happen in my head. And she kind of said, you need to come and see us and talk to us, you know. So we visited. You know, lockdown had been reduced at that point, so you could see each other kind of outside but at a distance, so that's how we had to do it. So I spoke to Mum, and luckily they're literally round the corner, like 2 seconds from where the park was, and told my mum, and she was just like, it's okay, you know, that's fine, okay. And then I had to tell my dad. He literally word for word said, well, it doesn't change how I feel about you, you're still my daughter. And I just fell apart. It was like 14 years of built up anxiety and stress just all came out, and it was incredible. It was unreal. I had no idea that that's the reaction that I would have had, you know. And I was totally prepared for if it had been a bad reaction. Whether that was more anxiety playing into that, I don't know. But so once I told my dad, I knew I can tell the world now. I can scream it from the rooftops and it'd be and it'd be fine. So I filmed that video when I got back and the kids were in bed, and I was able to have some time to get it up, and I filmed the video, I popped it up, and here we are now. So that's kind of my coming out story. So part of the reason why I didn't feel ready coming back when I said I'd come back in the last video that I talked to you guys was I knew there was still something I was keeping from you guys, i.e. my sexuality, and I couldn't, in all honesty, sit here and be completely honest with you guys and be like, yeah, you know, happy and cheerful, knowing that there was something I was still keeping from you, and knowing that I wasn't being my true self. And at that time, I think it was like June, July last year, it was really bugging me. It was really stressing me out that I wasn't out yet. I hadn't told Stephen, I hadn't told anybody, so I had to kind of come to terms with it myself, tell my family, tell my husband, have it all be okay, or at least be out, and then I could come back when I felt ready and more clear, and my head felt clear. So that's where I am today. I am going to pop some links down below to some helplines and some websites you can go to if you're struggling to come out, if you're having any kind of issues with coming out or self-acceptance. So I'll put all the links down below to anything that you may need. Also, I wanted to quickly mention a YouTuber called Pete. I'll link his YouTube below and the video below that I watched of him talking about being bisexual and coming out and all that kind of stuff, because he makes some really good points, and his video was one of the last kick up the backsides I needed to tell my husband and to come out. So I will definitely link that video below if you are struggling, because he has got some good points. He's a very fun, amazing guy to watch, so definitely go check him out. Now on to the what's going to happen to this channel video. So I've had a few people messaging me asking me where the videos are, what's going on and all that kind of stuff. Health wise, I'm okay. I'm still round about where I was last year. I did have the injections in my spine, which I think I spoke about in the last health video. They lasted a few weeks, then they wore off. Obviously I've not been able to go back to my consultants because obviously of lockdown and all that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of managing with medication at the moment. I had a on the phone conversation with my consultant last week, and he basically has referred me for more in-depth injections to be done. So they do it at a time rather than both sides that they did last time, because these are stronger ones. So that's kind of where we are with the health stuff at the moment. Any more updates I will kind of let you know when I know. I'm waiting for that appointment to come through whenever it does, and then whatever happens after that happens. So now this channel, so obviously this channel's been quiet for a while, you now know why. I am coming back. I am going to be filming again. The videos will be coming back. I don't know when. Now this might be like a, oh god, another year. I have ordered the new Erin Condren Daily Duo Planner, or planners, because I think you get 2 books. I think you get 2 books of 6 months. I believe that's what it is. They're more expensive, so they should be. So it's the new Erin Condrens that are in, and I have fallen in love with them. I treated myself. I ordered them, I think at the end of May, like 27th of May, along them lines. So yeah, so when that comes, that will be a unboxing video straight away, ready to go. I'm then going to change up the planning videos. Now the scrapbooking ones are not going to be coming back for a while. A lot of my scrapbooking stuff has either been sold, given to local schools for you know, crafting and stuff, or given to my children, or away to friends, because scrapbooking was something that I just didn't find much enjoyment from. I'm still painting, so there might be some painting videos coming up. Planning is where I start. This channel started. So planning is where I'm taking it back to. I'm stripping the channel straight back to where it started. So instead of doing plan with me's, so planning the week ahead with me, I'm thinking of doing the how I planned videos. So I take hours to do a spread in a planner, because there's so many different aspects with the kids and all that kind of stuff. I can't just do it all quick and rush it, because then I don't plan how I want to plan. I don't end up using the week in the spread and use a different planner, and then it's just a waste of money and it's not being used. So I thought it would be easier or better way to show you guys how I plan is what I will do is I will plan the week, and I will take a picture of the week before I fill it out, which will be at the start of the video, or a somewhat clip of the, I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it. And then every week, once a week maybe, every 2 weeks, I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it. I will show you the previous couple of weeks, or the previous week, show you how I planned, how it worked, if it worked, what stickers I used, what stickers I didn't use, what ones and what kind of planning styles worked for me, what I'm going to be carrying forward and what I'm going to stop doing, and basically show you how the plan that I'm doing for that week actually worked, or if it didn't work. This planner is not only going to be a planner for day to day, it's also going to be a memory planner. I want to start remembering things with the kids. My memory is shocking. Vibro, I think, plays a big hand in that, but I don't remember a lot of things, and the kids are changing, especially like William, which I will get into in a separate video, but there's different things that are happening with him, and I want to remember them, good or bad, and so that they're in there for future reference. And I definitely want to start doing that, so that it is going to be like a memory planner, so I can look back on it as well, and you guys get to see some fun little memories as well, whether they be good or bad, of my day. That's the kind of plan for the channel going forward, I think. I may change it and stuff like that. I can't do anything until the Erin Condren turns up. What else? The shop, that's what I'm saying. My shop is still going. It is closed still for now because my local post office is inside a shopping centre and it is a pain to get to. You're still working on charms. I've been working on some Animal Crossing ones. I am addicted to that game at the moment, and if you guys are, I have been crafting and been sketching and trying out some Animal Crossing charms, so they will probably be the first ones that will go into the shop once I'm happy with them. But that will be opening, and then I was thinking of them bringing maybe once a month, once every 2 months, videos to this channel, kind of showing you guys what's new in the shop and bringing those videos back as well. So I think that's all I really have to update on, really. We're all okay this end. You know, touch wood, no one in this house has had the dreaded virus. I hope you are all well. I hope you're all okay. Please keep safe. Please stay at home until it is safe to go out. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Thank you so much for still being subscribed if you are an old-time subscriber, or thank you for subscribing if you are a new subscriber. Please like this video, get these videos start being viewed again. Obviously the algorithms of YouTube are crazy, so yeah, give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and yeah, I'll speak to you all in my next video, whenever that will be. Bye.